Hello and welcome to the Beach Travel Wine Podcast. This is episode 143, and today we are taking you to Segovia, which is about a half-hour train ride north of Madrid. Now, we've been to Spain. This is our fifth trip, and it took us this many trips to actually get to Segovia, which is just crazy because we were blown away. And I know I say that a lot, but honestly, Segovia is a wow. It is an easy day trip, and it's more than just the aqueduct, the 2,000-year-old aqueduct, which is stunning. And the thing about it is there's lots of other things to see. There's a castle that inspired Disney. There's lots of historic buildings. There's some fabulous restaurants. And even though it is a popular day trip, we're going to try and convince you that you need to stay overnight to see the best of it. So stay listening to the end to find out all the information, and we'll tell you all about the hotel that we recommend and the best way to get in and out of Segovia. So please enjoy episode 143. And if you want to see all the pictures, and you will, because I took the best photos of the aqueduct at every time of the day, from early morning until late at night, then please click on the link in the podcast player you're listening on now. Good morning, Lyle. How are you today?
Buenos dias, Leonita.
Now, as I said in the intro, we are in Segovia, and it took us 5 trips to Spain to get here. And wow, I wish we'd gone earlier.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's an amazing place. So most people get to Segovia from Madrid, right?
Yep.
And they often do it as a day trip. And so you want to tell us like the best way to get there? And just so you know, I've got all this information on our website too. This is episode 143. So if you need to go and read those details, just check them out at Beach Travel Wine.
Yeah, look, the best way from Madrid is obviously the fast train.
Yep.
It only takes about 30 minutes, and it's got really good scenic views. Segovia station is outside the city centre, needing a bus or taxi to the historic centre. You can book the tickets in advance and plan for the connecting bus.
Mm-hmm. Which lots of people do that.
Yeah. Now, the bus is budget friendly, drops you close to the historic centre. The trip takes about an hour and 15 to an hour and 30. Mm-hmm. Buy tickets online, Avanza, or at the train.
The bus station.
The bus station. Book return tickets in advance. Or you can do an organised day trip, which is probably the easiest way from Madrid.
They come
and pick you up and all that sort of stuff. But it can be a little bit inflexible, those particular tours. And, of course, you can drive. Now, driving offers flexibility, but expect tolls and also parking challenges in the historic centre because all the parking's outside.
Yeah, well,
it's all pedestrian.
It is pedestrian, but you arrive there and like you don't have to. You know, all these sites that you go to in these historic cities, you got to walk through the streets to find your way. You literally get dropped right in front of the aqueduct, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's why people go to Segovia.
Yeah.
It's basically the entrance into the old town, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, well, obviously, like anywhere else we've been in Spain, there is a bit of a brief history to it.
Yeah.
Quite a long history that you're going to.
Well, I'll give you a bit of a description of Segovia itself. It's a historic UNESCO World Heritage City, known for its stunning Roman architecture. Fairy tale Alcazar Castle, said to inspire Disney, and beautiful Gothic cathedral, offering a rich blend of Roman Gothic and medieval architecture with charming streets, a significant history as a cultural melting pot, the Moors, the Christians and the Jews, and delicious local cuisine, making it a popular day trip from Madrid. Easy to explore major sites in a day, a deep connection to Roman, medieval and Spanish royal history. Queen Isabella I was proclaimed queen here. In essence, Segovia is a living museum showcasing Spain's diverse past through its magnificent and well-preserved monuments. It's up there with some of the best cities we've ever been to.
Yeah, for wow.
For wow, yeah. It's the aqueduct itself just blows your mind.
Now, we do talk about day trips, and I would say 90% of people that go to Segovia do a day trip. We would highly recommend actually that you at least stay a night, and we'll talk about where we stayed, because look, the aqueduct is impressive. There's just no other word to describe it. However, at night and early morning as the sun's coming up, you can't beat how beautiful it is. And I've got photos of every time of day with the aqueduct.
I would suggest that you have photographed that particular historic monument more than any other monument in all our travel.
Because it just changed so much in the colours.
Yeah, it does.
You know, at one stage there was the sun coming up, and I got a photo of that. And as I turned around, there's hot air balloons coming. We're going to talk about that in a little while too. And then at night, we're sitting there having a glass of wine, and the sun's going down, the golden colours. And then when it's pitch dark and they light it up, it is truly beautiful. And you're only going to see that if you stay overnight as well. So that's just something to think about. So do you want to tell a bit more about the history?
Yeah, I will. The 8th century, original Celtic. Romans captured it around 75 BC, building the iconic aqueduct. 8th to the 11th century, brief Moorish control, followed by Visigoth rule with abandonment and reconquest by Christians. 11th to the 16th century, repopulated by Christians. Segovia thrived on its wool textile industry, becoming a royal city, home to the Alcazar and the site of the Isabella I crowning. The 17th to the 19th century, plague and industry decay led by poverty. Plague and industry decay led to poverty, but Bourbon influence and the Royal Artillery Academy offered some revival. Today, a major tourist attraction recognised by UNESCO in 1985 for its historical centre.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So do you want to tell us a bit about where we did stay? That made our whole trip a whole lot better, didn't it?
Yeah, look, it was Hotel LA Aqueducto, and I'll spell that. So it's Hotel ELE, separate word, AQUEDUCTO.
I'll put a link to that in the webpage as well.
Yeah, it's a great location with fabulous views of the aqueduct, awesome rooftop bar overlooking the aqueduct, which, you know, as you said earlier, at night it was just outstanding. Look, the downstairs restaurant, the bar was open, but the restaurant really wasn't. And to be honest, it was pretty average, that part of it.
The buffet breakfast was too, but for the price and also the location, it certainly was worth it. There was another accommodation place a bit closer. We were probably 100 metres from the aqueduct. The other hotel was probably 50 metres from the aqueduct, and but the one we stayed in is like budget friendly for sure.
Yeah. Now the aqueduct itself, that's in the plaza of the aqueduct.
So we're talking about this aqueduct, and if you don't know what we're talking about or you haven't seen it, go to the website and you'll see the pictures there, or just Google Segovia and it'll be the first thing that comes up. This is a structure that brought water from 17 kilometres away.
Yeah.
And they built it 2,000 years ago. It's still standing.
Yeah. So it was built in the late 1st or early 2nd century AD, likely during the reigns of emperors either Domitian or Trajan, the Roman emperors. It's composed of 20,400 massive granite blocks, joined without mortar through ingenious balance of force. It's incredible.
It's got 167 arches.
That's right, yeah. Like it features 2 tiers of arches, with the tallest section reaching almost 28.5 metres or 94 feet.
So they got the water from the River Frio, I think it's called.
Yep, that's it.
17 kilometres from town. So this is 2,000 years ago. They're finding a way to get fresh water to the houses, to the businesses to
the fountains.
Yeah, to the fountains which is where people went and collected their water usually. So this is like, as I said, 2,000 years ago. And they built it without any sort of mortar. You've got to think there's an arch with a big rock there, and it's there because of the pressure and the way they've built it. It's fascinating and like incredibly clever. Now they were using this; they were still getting water up until 1973.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's so impressive. And the main part there in town, you can walk up some stairs and see where it kept flowing to the houses, but you get a view from the top and you look down over it. Most people just go down underneath it, but that view from up the top, which of course I got pictures of, was incredible as well, wasn't it?
Yep.
And it just dominates the the landscape, as I said, and it's a wow. Like I just got up early to take photos, and I just loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah, now Segovia itself is not that big. It's easily walkable, and the main street is called Calle Real,
Yeah,
and that's obviously the Royal Street.
and it's an easy walk from the like all over, as you said, but from the aqueduct to the castle, which is through you go down Calle Real, which are the two main things that people go to see, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Real is a historic, a charming street known for its traditional architecture, palatial mansions, shops, and leading to the key sites like the Plaza Mayor and Cathedral, offering the quintessential Spanish medieval atmosphere. It's a central thoroughfare showcasing beautiful Mudéjar art and architecture, connecting Segovia's iconic Roman aqueduct to its magnificent Alcazar fortress. Now, there's some major attractions within this street, which I'll go.
We didn't know anything about this. That was the other thing, because we did like a voice map
Yeah, that's right.
walking tour, which then went into detail about all these things. I basically thought it was the aqueduct, and then I found out there was a castle, and then we found out about this street and the plaza and the cathedral and all these other things. So there's a whole lot more to it than just the aqueduct.
Yeah, but it's still really basically one street, isn't
Sure.
it?
Yeah. The main street. There's lots of little streets that go off it.
So featuring in the street, there's the Casa de los Argos, the House of the Peaks, is a 15th century palace famed for its striking facade covered in 617 pyramid-shaped granite blocks, now home to an art school, while St. Martin's Gate was a medieval gate in the city's wall, now a historic landmark near to this house. The next thing you see is the Plaza de Medina del Campo, also known as Plaza de Juan Bravo, is a significant square featuring elegant early modern architecture, the statue of rebel Juan Bravo, and a beautiful church of St. Martin. Bravo was a Castilian nobleman and leader of the Comuneros, a rebellion against King Charles V. In the early 16th century, the Romanesque Church of the St. Martins, built in the 12th century, is one of only 19 of the original 32 churches in the city. The old prison was built over a 10th century monastery and served as a prison from the 17th century to 1933. And then there's the Corpus Christi Plaza, centers around the former main synagogue, a building with a rich history, built around 1373, confiscated by the Christians in 1410, converted into a church dedicated to Corpus Christi in 1419, given to a monastery and then transformed into a convent, which it remains, surviving a fire in 1889 and later restoration while not perfectly peaceful 700 plus years. Segovia was part of a longer historical era where these three faiths coexisted for centuries, marked by both significant collaboration and periodic strife. So basically, the Jews and the Christians and the Moors were there for 700 years.
A bit like in Toledo, right?
Look, and the funny thing about that is Toledo is about the same distance from Madrid as Segovia, and they're both unbelievably beautiful cities.
So those places that Lyle's just told you about, they're sort of on the walk through the main part of town.
Yeah.
And there's one little place that you can go down under the gate, and there's a fountain there, and we're up quite high. So everywhere you go, you're looking out down over the valleys and things. So
basically it's a wall, really.
Yeah, we're sitting up on our outcrop. Now, let's talk about the Alcazar, because we went all the way down to the Alcazar, which is like a castle. And as Lyle said, it is apparently, it was one of the castles that inspired Walt Disney and his castles right there in Disneyland. And once again, go and have a look at the photos, because you can see why you would think that that's the case. However, I've heard that about other castles around the place as well, but it does look like a Disney castle. And I have to say, it was one of the photos or videos that I took that my grandkids were most impressed with in Spain, because It does look like an actual real castle, because a lot of the old forts, they're impressive, but this one's got the turrets on it and the pointy.
Very elaborate.
Yeah. And it's got a moat around it and a bridge that you have to cross and beautiful gardens out the front. And if you want tickets to it, the ticket box is right there at the gate to get in. And it was easy to get tickets. You don't need to buy them ahead of time if you don't want to.
Okay, so the actual building began in the 12th century. Final architectural stage was completed in 1587, so it took a while.
Yeah.
It sits on a rocky outcrop above the confluence of the Eresma and the Glamoras rivers, offering panoramic view.
Yeah.
Look, the views from the castle were
And there's some
unbelievable.
historic buildings that you can see from there as well. Like, it's not just in the city. There's lots of other little spots around, isn't there, around Segovia?
Well, you've got, I think it was the bishop's house and all that sort of stuff was down in the valley. A blend of Romanesque, Gothic and Mudéjar styles with later romantic renovations after a fire in 1862, exaggerating its fairy tale look.
So that's when
that's when they
made it look like a Disney castle.
Was he very exaggerated?
Disney didn't exist then.
No, that's true. The royal history, it served as the favoured residence for Castilian monarchs like Alfonso X, the Wise, and was later Isabel I of Castile was crowned queen in 1474. It evolved from a fortress to a royal palace, state prison, Royal Artillery College, and military academy. Its iconic silhouette is widely believed to have inspired the Disney Cinderella Castle. Now, what do you see? The Torres de Juan II, Tower of John II, offers breathtaking views of Segovia and the surrounding landscape. Discover opulent spaces like the throne room and the Sala de la Galeria. Explore the artificial moat, drawbridge, and manicured gardens. We did a voice map app of the actually inside the castle, and we also did one of Segovia itself, and they were both fantastic.
Yeah, and there's a path to follow around inside the castle, and it's obviously it's like a museum now. There's a lot of that military paraphernalia on show in there, and some of the furniture and the views from some of those windows. And yes, you go up to a couple of the outdoor areas outside the towers, and the views are amazing. You can see some of the old city wall and stuff. And I really like that too. Like, I wasn't expecting that in Segovia. Literally, to me, it was the aqueduct. But that whole day, that walk and seeing all that history in such a small area,
it just blew your mind.
Now, one of the things we haven't talked about is the Plaza Mayor, which is in the middle. It's basically halfway between the aqueduct and the castle. So we went and stood there. There's like a rotunda in the middle, right? And lots of shops and cafes and restaurants now. But when you sit down, the major thing that you see from Plaza Mayor is the cathedral.
Yeah.
And it's stunning.
Yeah, it's amazing. The nickname, the Lady of Cathedrals.
Yeah.
It's, excuse my Spanish, Nuestra Señora de la Asunción y San Frutos is Spain's last great Gothic cathedral, built from 1525 to replace an older one destroyed in the War of Comuneros. Commissioned by Charles V and designed by Juan Gil de Hontaño. It's known as the Lady of Cathedrals for its late Gothic style and intricate details, with construction lasting over 2 centuries, incorporating elements from the older church, and finally consecrated in 1768, nearly 243 years after the first stone was laid.
Yeah, it's massive, and it's beautiful to look at too. And it sits on the corner of the plaza, and you can go inside and check it out. You can actually walk all the way around the outside of it as well. We went around the back way and took some photos of it from there. And then obviously we sat in the plaza and had a refreshing drink to look at everything as well, didn't we?
Yeah, and look, inside's beautiful as well. It's typical Spanish Catholic church with the 3 naves and the organ area and
stained glass
windows and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's what you expect.
Yeah.
from the outside of the actual, looking at it from Plaza Mayor, yeah, it's magnificent.
Yeah. So, as I said, most people go for the aqueduct, and then you find out about the Alcazar, the castle. But you don't really hear about anything in the middle, and it's easy to fill a whole day in Segovia, very easy. And one of the other things that Segovia is famous for is their roasted pig.
Roasted suckling pig.
Yes, so a lot of people they go, they look at the aqueduct, they have the roasted pig. There's a restaurant, a famous restaurant which I've got a beautiful photo of as well, sits right under the aqueduct, and the roasted pig is apparently so tender. And some of the restaurants still do this as a bit of a display, where they actually
Carve it with a plate.
A plate, yeah, because it's so soft. So it becomes a bit of a show-off thing at the restaurant. So a lot of people go there for that as well.
Yeah, so two of the really, really famous restaurants.
Yeah.
There's one, and it's right pretty much, well, they're both pretty much right underneath the aqueduct. So you can't miss them. Okay, so there's the Maison del Candido, famous for its roasting pig whole in wood-fired ovens, served with unique plate smashing tradition. And there's also the Jose Maria, another highly rated traditional restaurant celebrated for its suckling pig.
There's lots of places to eat, though, where you can actually see the aqueduct. We found a couple of spots where you could just sit and have your tapas and look back towards the aqueduct. And then there was another wide street that went down a little bit further, and it had plenty of restaurants there as well. But remember, we had to leave because the storm came. So plenty of places to eat if you don't want to have the suckling pig. Or they're also known for their roasted lamb.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, yeah, there's plenty of places to eat. The hotels generally have a buffet breakfast if you're staying. It's easy to get there by train or bus, but I still think you should stay overnight. What do you reckon?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we one of my favourite things that we did, and obviously I'm getting it early when they say, your favourite place to have a glass of wine, was definitely the rooftop bar at the hotel we were staying. It was just the view of the aqueduct at night was it was outstanding.
Yeah. Well, once again, go and have a look at the photos. As I said, Beach Travel Wine, episode 143, because I've got your photos not just of the aqueduct at all times of day, but the restaurant where they do the suckling pig. I've got the streets that you walk through. There's a lot of history in those streets. There was a paper mill there and a textile mill. There's another place that had, as you were talking about, the statue. And there was a plaza area that you mentioned as well. But when we were there, that had a lot of school kids in it. There was a big group of kids, and that was a huge plaza area there. And you can just find somewhere to sit. We actually bought some clothes there. They got some nice shops.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, like a pretty dress. So it's not all the touristy shops either.
No.
I mean, they are there, but they've got some really lovely shops through those streets. And then to come across the castle when you sort of get to the end and see.
It's almost like the climax of the whole thing. It's at the very end. You've got the Alcazar, and seriously, again, just magnificent. Do yourselves a favour, if you do get the chance to go to Madrid, it's a half an hour train trip, and I promise you'll be so pleased you've done it.
Yeah, or do what we did and add in, we chucked it in as a stopover on a way to somewhere else, because it's a transport hub there. You can get on the fast train and go north as well, so that's pretty cool. One of the other things that is popular in Segovia, which our friends Leone and Mike have done, is hot air ballooning. And I'm going to put a link to the one that we know people have done and recommend. And I was lucky enough to see the hot air balloons, and I can just imagine what it's like, because it's this, as you said, it's sitting on an outcrop. You've got the castle, you probably see the aqueduct going along its way.
I'm sure you've got a photo actually through the aqueduct of one of the hot air balloons.
Oh, there was 2 and 3 at some stages, yeah. So it would be a magnificent way if you're going to do a hot air balloon ride. I've done my one and only, so I'm not probably going to do another one. But if I was going to, I would certainly look at doing it in Segovia. I think it's not that expensive. So I'll put a link to that on the webpage as well. Is there anything else about Segovia that we need to add? I mean, have we told them enough about how the aqueduct is and how impressed we were?
No, I don't think we could give it more wowee, but the one thing that you've probably got to emphasise is that to make sure you organise your transport from the railway station to the city centre.
From the railway station.
From the railway station.
There is obviously a local bus that goes on the loop.
Yeah, so and then we caught you actually pre-booked a taxi?
I did, because we were arriving from somewhere else and we were arriving at night and we had our luggage. I just wanted to make sure that we got to where we were going to go. But
I remember when we got picked up at the railway station and the length of the drive to the city centre, all I could think of was, thank goodness Leanne has booked this taxi.
There are a lot of people who travel from Segovia to Madrid to work every day.
Yeah, sure. So it's only a half an hour ride.
Yeah, so there's buses that are continually going out to the train station, and taxis do it all the time because it's that's how they commute into Madrid. So do I have to ask?
Well, I've already told you my favourite place for a glass of wine was obviously on the rooftop bar.
Yeah, me too. You can't go past that. I mean, sitting having the wine at that little restaurant, looking back up at the aqueduct was pretty impressive as well, I have to say.
Well, the thing is, still can't get over the fact that it was built like in the 1st century AD, and they never used mortar. That was just done on gravity.
Yeah.
Like, how smart were these people?
So smart.
The Romans.
And their arches are not, it's
incredible.
There's no timber in it. It's all rock.
And it's huge.
Yeah, Romans were clever, and they brought water to a town from 17 kilometres away.
And you know what? The funny thing about it, probably the only reason they probably don't still do it is because of regulations and whatever.
Yeah.
For health regulations, and yet for that 2,000 years.
2,000 years. Yeah.
They used it with no problem.
Yeah.
You're assuming that anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's. You've got to go and see it.
Yeah, I was blown away by it. All right, I think we've got one more Spanish podcast to come in this series. Yeah,
and it's probably my favourite city.
Maybe
in Spain, maybe the world.
And we're already planning our trip this year, and we'll be doing a whole series on another country in Europe. So I'm pretty excited about that. But we'll keep that one up our sleeves for now. So until next week, mi amor, es hasta luego.
Sí, hasta luego.